the devil. Three-punch combo, are you? Right, so I just want to talk about one of my favourite albums from the 80s, which is Howard Jones' Humans Lib. Now, just a little bit about Howard Jones. A lot of people think he's pure Welsh, but actually he was born in Southampton, in England, and then he moved back to Wales as a child, small child, to Rhybyner in Cardiff. His parents are Welsh, so he is kind of Welsh. I suppose he is Welsh, but born in England. And he was brought up in Rhybyner in Cardiff, which is literally about 4 miles away from me. It's not far. I could walk there in an hour, maybe. I don't know. Right? Go and say hello. I don't think he lives there anymore. Anyway, so this is one of my favourite albums at the time. And it spawned 4 hits: What Is Love, Pearl in the Shell, New Song, and what was the other one? Hide and Seek. With What Is Love peaking at number 2 in the charts, I think in mid-1984. And I think the album actually reached number 1. Now, here's the crazy thing about this album. It wasn't well received by the critics. And I think, you know, they didn't like it much. Most of the critics didn't like it at the time. And I think it shows that disconnect sometimes between critics and the buying public and us who buy the music. There's a massive disconnect sometimes, I think. It's very similar with movies as well. You see these really well-rated, you know, movies by the critics, think they're fantastic. And I sit and watch them, I'm like, oh, I've had enough of this. I got better things to do all my time, you know? Like, what? And then movies you think are fantastic, they've rated them terribly. So there is a bit of a disconnect sometimes between critics, you know, say, oh, this film is absolutely fantastic. You must watch it. There's absolutely amazing acting in this. And then you watch it and go, what the deuce? What are they talking about? Anyway, but here we are. Where was I? I digressed. Bloody critics. So, anyway, so yeah, this got to number 1 in the UK charts. I think it did well around Europe. I think it didn't do fantastic in America. I don't think in the US. And that's where most artists want to break, is the US, because it's a big market for them, isn't it? I think he did well with his follow-up album, Dream Into Action. I think that did better over there. But I think this is my favourite album of his. I think this is a stronger album than Dream Into Action, personally. Some people may disagree with me. And I can't believe that he didn't get to number 1. He didn't have a number 1 single. How come Howard Jones couldn't get a number 1 single? It's crazy. And like I said, What Is Love peaked at number 2. I was his highest performing single in the UK anyway. And I'm like, what's going on? But to be fair, he did have a lot of strong competition that year. You had Frankie Goes to Hollywood was getting number 1s all over the flipping place. They broke loads of records, I think. They equaled the Beatles for number 1s at the time. George Michael was around, and Wham, and they were staying number 1 for weeks at a time, you know, filling up the chart. And at the end of the year, then it was Band-Aid, Do You Know It's Christmas? So that was number 1 pretty much all over Christmas and into January. So to get to number 2 up against that competition was pretty good, I think. And number 1 album as well. I think 2 weeks in the chart, it was number 1. Anyway, but the reason I'm talking about this, right, is because they've just released the Blu-ray audio special edition of Humans Lib. Now, on this, you've got a 5.1 surround sound, DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, 96 kilohertz 24-bit LPCM 2024 new stereo mix with 3 tracks of the Dolby Atmos: What Is Love, Hide and Seek, and New Song. Can you see that there? Can you see it there? Right. Also got a CD included as well with the new stereo mix. Now, I will say with Dolby Atmos, I've got rid of my surround system with Dolby Atmos. It was a Marantz receiver. And the reason is, I think the only way, and this is only my personal opinion, I don't want to get anybody's backs up because I'm sure people would disagree with me, but it's only my personal opinion, is that outward firing Dolby Atmos speakers are not great. The only way to get true Dolby Atmos is to have your speakers on the ceiling. Now I know there's a problem if you've got it in your living room, you don't want to have wires running up your walls and drilling things in the ceiling and things like that. I understand. But I think that's the only true way of getting Dolby Atmos. Imagine me getting my stereo speakers and laying them on the floor, firing upwards. Do you think they'd sound very good? No, right? And that's what I think about upward firing speakers. But anyway, that's by the by. So I got rid of that system. I much prefer a stereo mix, personally. So I won't be able to listen to the 5.1. I'm more interested in the high-res version of this with the new stereo mix and the new stereo mix on the CD itself. Now I'm hoping it's not just going to be boosted bass and boosted volume. I'm hoping they have, you know, done a really good stereo mix, because in New Song he goes boop 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 boop. So I want to see if terrible impression of it. I want to see if they've improved the stereo on it and done a different sort of version of it. And also, one of my favourite songs on the album is Equality. Now I think that was he only released that in South Africa at the time. I think it was a single over there, nowhere else. I don't know how well it did over there, and I think it was something to do with apartheid over there. That's why he released it there at the time. But there's a bit in that track where 3/4 through, the music dies off and he's just singing, "We're just the same, don't you know?" And then it fades out, "We're just the same," and it goes quiet for a couple of seconds, and then the drums come in, right? And when I used to listen to that headphones back in 1984, I used to put, you know, the hairs would stand up on the back of my head. But the only trouble I found, well, with I've got the old CD here, so I can do comparisons, is that sometimes I just felt it could do with a bit more oomph, you know, a bit more punch in it. So I want to see if the stereo mix CD does, you know, give that bit of extra oomph in it, a bit of order. Anyway, so let's get this open, have a look what we got inside, and then obviously I can't play any of the music. Unfortunately, I can't play because of copyright. Can't do it. Soz, okay. But I'll give you my opinion on the comparison between the two. All right, and also we'll have a look. We'll have a look of it on the TV as well, see what it looks like. Ooh. Okay, let's have a little look in there. Right. Don't want to damage it with this flipping knife. Okay, what we got? What have we got? So there's a Blu-ray audio disc, and there's the new stereo mix of the CD, and here we got something in here as well. That's making a noise, it's bugging me that. We got a little booklet in here. Track listing on there. Let's have a look what we got here. Somebody's Reimagining Humans, led by Anil Prasad. It's a little write-up about Howard Jones, Human Lib. Some picture art there. Oh, what's this? Dennis, Ruth and David. I'm sure there's some stuff in here which I'll find interesting and have a little read of it later. I think there's a little interview in here. Now, I would like to see, personally, right, they put a little interview in there, a little bit of write-up on Howard Jones talking. Blu-ray's got a huge amount of space on it, okay? What I don't get with these Blu-ray audio editions is why they don't put an interview on there, a video interview. There's plenty of space for it. You could put loads of stuff on there because the music doesn't take up a huge amount of space on there, okay? They've still got plenty of room to put a video on there, to put an interview on there. Just, you know, one of the songs would be good. Like, I don't know, put What Is Love video on there, a quick interview by Howard Jones, or Howard Jones introducing it. I don't know, it might be on there, but I doubt it. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you think that'd be good if they put it on here, made it a bit more interactive? Anyway, let's get it in my 4K Blu-ray player and have a look what it looks like on the screen. Okay, so here's the front screen. And as you can see, there's no options for a video, a music video, or an interview. And I really do think they're missing the trick with these Blu-ray audios by not putting at least an interview on there, or some old footage, an old video of a song. I think they're missing a trick there. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'd really love to see that. It would give more value for money if that was on there. But it is what it is. Maybe it's down to affordability. Maybe it would bump the cost up of the disc. I don't know why they don't do it. But here we are. Anyway, so you've got at the top, you've got play album. Whoop, just banged. Sorry, I just banged the stand there. You've got play album. Then you've got your track selection here. Then you can go through track selection. Got a farmyard version of new song, China Dance, and I closed that. Now, I'm pretty sure on the original album I had in the 80s, in 1984, it didn't have China Dance on it. I'm sure it didn't. I'm sure that was the last track. I might be wrong. I don't know. Let me know. Let's close that. Then you've got your audio options. Oop. Okay, so you've got the 2024 new stereo mix and the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. I'm keeping it on the stereo mix for now. I'm pointing at the TV and not the DVD player, the Blu-ray player. The TV's not going to change it, is it? Want to play on the swings? Anyway, right. And then you've got your extra Dolby Atmos tracks here. Again, I'm pointing at the TV. And you've got What Is Love, Hide and Seek, and New Song, Farmyard version. Now, what is good, though, one good thing about it, if I play the album, obviously with the sound down, I can't play it, right? They do have some video. They do have some visuals on the tracks when they're playing. So you've got these visuals here. I'll just forward through it a little bit. See these visuals coming on, which is pretty cool. But also in some of the tracks, they actually show little snippets of him playing a drum or a face or whatever. Let's go to chapter 2. What's on that one? I'll fast forward it so you can see it quicker. So it's nice to see some visuals on there. You can see sometimes little visuals of him in there. There he is. I seen him. Right. Little snippets. There you go. So this is cool. Sometimes you don't even get this at all. So it's nice to see little clips of him in there. And what other one was it? That's just nothing. That's just a record and stuff. Oh yeah, and you got this one then. This is Equality. Now, is it me? Or does that look like Martin Freeman? It's Martin Freeman. What's he doing in there with all that makeup on his face? Come on, Martin, sort it out. So it's nice to see these visuals on there. That's pretty cool. That's a bit weird. What's that? It's a bit funky, isn't it? What the flipping heck's all that about? That's a freaky looking dude. Right, and there you go. Now, unfortunately, like I said earlier in the video, I can't play a sound clip, but I know how much you like my sound comparisons. So I thought I can't leave you hanging. So here is a sound comparison between a Strelitzia plant and a yucca plant. Have a listen to this. So what do you reckon on that? I think for me, I think it was the Strelitzia. I felt it had a little bit more forward mid-range, better in the highs, but I have to give the bass was a bit more punchy on the yucca plant. Anyway, so what do I think? What do I think about? What do I think about the stereo mix, the CD compared to the original CD? It's a huge difference, massive. I quite couldn't believe it, how good a job they've done of the stereo mix on the new CD and the stereo mix on the Blu-ray. Absolutely brilliant. It sounds so much better. They've really sort of cleared up that stereo imaging. It's way more punchy and a lot more bass. It is louder. They have made it louder, but in comparison, the old CD sounds very thin, very veiled. This one is quite forward, and it hasn't affected the mids and the highs either. You know what I mean? They haven't just boosted the bass and that's it. You know, they've really cleaned it up right across the frequencies. So the stereo mix is way better than the original CD, just so much better. I was very surprised how much of a difference it was. So there you go, Howard Jones Humans Lib, the special edition. Fantastic, really enjoyed it. Now, I just hope the people who make these will see, they'll probably never see this video, but if you ever see, you know, some commentary where you can leave a comment or something, tell them to put some footage in, like an interview with the musician, or at least one of their popular videos on it, just to give it a bit more interaction. Anyway, that's come to the end of the video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.